Good afternoon. My name is Jared McCovery, Marketing Coordinator for CharityNet and ChurchNet USA. Today we will hear from Melanie Swift, our Director of Nonprofit Services, and she will be speaking on combining online fundraising and marketing teams to conquer the World Wide Web. Melanie Swift is experienced in all aspects of nonprofit administration and mission-focused management, including grant writing, resource development, volunteer recruitment and retention, strategic planning, and IRS tax law compliance for both public and private nonprofit organizations. Melanie received a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology with a minor in Criminal Justice, as well as a Master of Arts in Nonprofit Management, both from the University of Central Florida. Participants, please remember to post any and all questions within the webinar, and the webinar link will be sent to participants afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Swift.
Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to spend some time with me talking about how you can use the World Wide Web to combine both your fundraising and your marketing efforts for your nonprofit organization. So let's see if I can get my screen, full screen. There we go, perfect. As Jared said, if anybody has questions throughout the course of the webinar, feel free to enter them into your question box at any time. And when we get to the end of the presentation today, I'll go through as many questions as I can answer live. If I don't get to your questions live, I will follow up with you via email after. And obviously, if you think of questions later on, I will be sharing my email with you at the end of the presentation so that you can reach out with questions that you may have for me when they come to mind later. All right, so on our agenda today, we're going to talk about marketing in the nonprofit sector, internet-based fundraising efforts, combining marketing and fundraising together as a combined effort, and then we'll talk about some specific online marketing strategies as well as some online fundraising strategies. So when it comes to marketing, marketing is a continuous diagnosis and analysis of the changing needs of your customers, your clients, and your constituents, and developing strategies to meet these needs. So marketing isn't limited only to promoting your organization and your services, but also being aware of the environment within which your organization operates so that you can continuously anticipate the needs of those you serve and determine the best ways to meet those needs. And that's not only the needs of your clients, but also your other constituencies, your donors, your volunteers. You want to be able to bring everyone into your organization through creation of an appropriate image for the product or service that your organization is offering. Within the nonprofit sector, successful marketing strategies allow nonprofits to accomplish their missions, meet their programmatic goals, and achieve long-term financial stability. The marketing that you do for your nonprofit should focus not only on identifying the needs of your constituents, but also how you satisfy those needs over time. So the things that you're doing to market to your constituency today may not be the same things that you're doing, the same strategies and efforts that you're going to be taking in the future to reach your target audience. When it comes to promoting your nonprofit, getting your image and your brand out there within the community you serve, there's a lot of different ways that you can promote yourself to the community. Obviously, you have to think about whether or not you have the resources to utilize either free or paid advertising. You can undertake organized word-of-mouth campaigns, do print or electronically based newsletters, issue press releases through local news outlets, distribute flyers and brochures within the community that you operate, and also establish a really nice web presence for your organization. Now, obviously, depending on the resources that you have available and, what your financial position is as an entity, some of these are more attractive methods of promotion than others. Now let's switch gears a little and talk about internet fundraising before we bring these two topics back together. Over the last 10 years or so, there's been a dramatic shift in the way that most nonprofit organizations think about fundraising and the methods that they utilize to reach their potential donors. Sorry about my slide presentation. My computer is giving me a hassle. We'll get right back on track. Okay, so back to internet fundraising. The internet has an amazing appeal as a new mechanism for soliciting charitable donations. And that stems from a variety of viewpoints. And, number one, the internet has created the ability to access more people than most organizations have historically been able to reach. Using the internet for fundraising has a relatively low expense, and perhaps the higher disposable income demographic, those individuals that have more extra money laying around to give to charitable causes, are better reached and more commonly reached through the internet in comparison with most other marketing methods nowadays. However, as appealing as the internet is for undertaking fundraising efforts, there are some common pitfalls that you have to consider before you really kick off an internet fundraising campaign. Number one, it's hard to be noticed among all of the others seeking attention on the internet. Now, there's some ways to get around that, and we'll talk a little more about those techniques, but something that you really have to keep in mind is how you're going to stand out from the crowd, how your organization is going to rank high when individuals are looking for charities on the web. There's also a possibility of failure due to unfamiliar technical breakdowns, as we kind of just experienced, or through misunderstanding how to use the mechanism effectively. Now, with the amazing functionality of the internet, it's become a really common practice for organizations to have their marketing and their fundraising teams work very closely with one another to develop a combined effort for both promoting the organization and generating revenue utilizing some of the same common resources online. Marketing and fundraising really are two halves of a whole. When they don't operate that way, the outcome of each team's effort is less than it could be. Marketing and fundraising efforts are both heavily focused on engaging the community in your organization's efforts, so it only makes sense that your marketing team and your fundraising team should work hand in hand in presenting your organization to the online public. If you're thinking about getting on board and marketing and fundraising for your organization together and a combined effort, you should think about utilizing a 4-step process to bring marketing and fundraising into a productive partnership and to create community engagement teams rather than separate fundraising and communications or marketing departments. So instead of having, a left hand that's a group of marketing individuals and a right hand that are your development officers, you really can create one single community engagement team that share the responsibility of engaging the public in the work that your organization's doing. Step 1, start from the top. Your organization's executive director, who is supported directly by the board of directors, must be the one to guide the two teams into an active collaboration and ensure that they stay there. Especially if you have an existing marketing team and an existing fundraising team that aren't used to combining their efforts, they really need a strong leader to encourage the two teams to combine and work together as one combined unit. So you'll want to ask the leaders of your organization to outline the top 3 actions that someone that you're a big supporter, an ardent fan of your cause, would take in order to support you in any given month. Then you'll discuss amongst your marketing and fundraising staff how they can work together to encourage that major donor, that big fan of your organization, to follow through on those actions. Secondly, you want to make sure that you're able to effectively articulate shared priorities. These priorities are going to serve as the core of the marketing and fundraising common agenda. As long as your marketing and fundraising teams each have distinct goals, obviously their own goals, they won't be effective partners. How could they be when each team kind of wants to focus on its own thing and move in its own direction? Marketing and fundraising teams each have specific responsibilities and will continue to have specific responsibilities even when they're working together. But they have to really be committed to working closely with one another to advance their shared priorities, to move forward with the things that are important to both marketing and fundraising for the organization. It's really important that these individuals work together to build and strengthen relationships with all of your key supporters and to generate additional revenue that can be used in fulfillment of your charitable purposes. Step 3 is to identify what's working. So it's essential to analyze pretty much every aspect of your organization all the time. It's a big part of strategic management to continuously being proactive instead of reacting to things after they happen, to always have administrators who are analytical in nature, who are evaluating the environment that you're working in, to know what's working, what doesn't, what you should do more of, what you should do less of or change. So it's really essential in every aspect of your organization's administration, even outside of the marketing and fundraising realms, to continuously analyze what's working and what's not. You'll need to ask both your marketing team and your fundraising team to develop or to identify each other's top 3 successes. That way they can integrate those approaches when they work together. Never forget to identify what isn't working, because that's important too. A lot of organizations that I work with, especially when I do strategic planning, get a little caught up on being afraid to identify the bad, being afraid to identify the things that aren't working or the things that could be done better or should be reviewed, because they feel like that's negative or that reflects poorly on their organization if they're able to identify things that aren't great. But I think what it reflects positively is an organization's ability to realize, hey, here's what we're not doing our best at, and we need to focus on doing that better. It takes a very strong organization to be able to identify and change its weaknesses. And finally, step 4, you want to build on real success stories. Identify compelling, well-honed, and widely shared and discussed successes as a glue of your fundraising and marketing conversation. So you're going to look for committed, long-term major donors, individuals that have been successfully served by your program, initiatives or projects that you've undertaken that have been just outstanding and made great impact on your community. And you really want to hone in on and focus on those things, because you want to present those great success stories as the image of your organization. When the same strong stories are being used by both your marketing and your fundraising teams, then your organization wins via increased awareness, building engagement, and boosting positive responses and actions. It really creates a cohesive image when each of your team are working together and getting the same information, the same image, the same stories out there in both the promotion and the fundraising sides. Because for the public that's seeing those stories, They become familiar. They get to feel like they know your organization and are a part of what you're doing. And that really is one of the major things that leads individuals to give. So let's talk about some specific types of online marketing strategies that organizations use to promote their organization, their programs, basically their overall brand and image to the community. You have to keep in mind that an attractive and dynamic website is going to be at the heart of your online marketing. When I come across client organizations that don't have websites in today's society, I'm a little dumbfounded, because if anybody wants to know anything more about anything, what do we do now? We Google it. You know, it's just how individuals of our generation, of multiple generations that are living today, have been socialized to get information. So if you want your information, if you want your image out there for the public to seek and to find, you really need to have a web presence. Now, it's not enough just to have a website. You really want your website to be aesthetically pleasing. You want it to be attractive, fun, have great colors and movement and photos, something that will keep someone there if they visit, that gives them things to look at, things to hear, and things to do. So you'll want to consider when you're developing your website where you can include things like animation or flash, photos, videos, newsletters, information on events that you're hosting, banners, blogging, an electronic donation functionality, a database functionality, or info capture is important. That is a functionality that will allow visitors that come to your website to leave their information behind. A little pop-up that might ask someone to leave their name, their email, their address, their phone number, things like that that allow you to develop your list so that you can send them newsletters, show them what's going on in your organization, and ultimately also send them giving appeals. You'll want to make sure that your social media are connected to your main website so that from your website, visitors can easily click and like or follow you on Facebook or Twitter, and that your website has been optimized for search engines. And that's really important. When you have a website, you may have a beautiful website. It's not beautiful unless people actually end up there to see it. So, for example, if I were looking for an organization that serves children in Central Florida, and I just Google Children Organization Central Florida, there's going to be so many hits. And as an individual, people are a little bit impatient. So we typically look at the links that come up on the first page. We may scroll down to the bottom and click over another page and look at those links. But most folks aren't going past there. So you want to make sure that your organization has a top ranking when people just search for terms related to what you do. And that's really what search engine optimization is all about. It's about winning your spot at the top of the list when people search terms that are related to your organization's activities. So once you have a nice website, you're optimized for the search engines, you've been collecting information, and you have a reasonable number of people on your email list, then it's really a good time to develop a program of direct online marketing communication with the individuals on your list. And the most common way to do this is through an email newsletter. An email newsletter is an opportunity to keep your supporters up to date on your upcoming events, your programs, your successes, opportunities for them to volunteer, to sponsor you, just to really keep them engaged in the good work that your organization is doing. Donors tend to give to organizations that they feel they have an ongoing relationship with or that they're involved in. So email newsletters are a really great, inexpensive way to keep your constituency engaged in what you're doing all the time throughout the year. That way, at those periods when the fundraising team needs to swoop in and do an appeal, they know right away what's going on in your organization and are familiar with what you're doing and are ready to give. Social media has been great for nonprofits because it's really a cost-free way to promote your organization, to raise awareness, and to raise money for what you're doing. It's also becoming more important now as search engines are using social signals to determine your organization's search ranking. So like I said before, search engine optimization is really important, and you can do a lot of specific things with your website, and there's companies out there that offer the service of doing all these specific things for you to make your website rank higher in those organic searches. And one of the things that search engines do now is the activity on your social media will send signals to the search engine, and the more activity there it tends to be, the higher you rank. So even if your audience is older, you'll find that many of them are on the internet, use the email, and have Facebook profiles. So you want to make sure you cover all those basics and you're continuously getting those individuals involved with your organization and engaged at your website, through your email campaigns, and in your social media to kind of raise your ranking altogether and create a better presence for your organization on the web. Another piece of social media is a blog. Many organizations and individuals even have blogs nowadays, and that's just basically an ongoing log of what's going on, what's new. One of the things that that's beneficial for, obviously, is keeping your constituency aware of what's going on and sharing with them informally, kind of like a friend, what's going on within your organization, what good work your organization is doing in the community, and the overall impact that you're having. It's also great for your search engine optimization because the more your content changes, the more different blog entries you have, the better you rank in the search engines. So blogging can really be helpful in a lot of ways. Now, we've talked a lot about online marketing strategies, but it's really important that you don't also forget and abandon traditional offline marketing and communications. Obviously, organizations haven't yet gone completely web. You still get your mailers in the mail. You still see flyers out and about. So it's important that you're able to integrate your online marketing with your offline communications. You'll want to make sure you include your website's domain or URL on every piece of printed material that you provide to your supporters, your donors, your volunteers, or the media. So that means that every brochure, business card, catalog, annual report, press release, fundraising letter, thank you letters, volunteer applications, donation receipts, event flyers, pretty much everything you print should have your web address on it. Perhaps your social media account addresses as well. You want to make sure that individuals are aware of how they can engage with you both online and offline. So now that we've talked more specifically about online marketing, let's talk now about some online fundraising strategies. Online fundraising is the fastest growing area of fundraising, hands down. However, things are getting so creative and so widespread that it's no longer enough just to put the Donate Now button on your website for individuals to be able to click and make a contribution with their credit card. Your online fundraising strategy now should include a number of ways that you're reaching out to your supporters. So take a look at this. There's a lot of sites out there on the web that offer various resources to buttress your online fundraising efforts. Fundraising Fundamentals from the Chronicle of Philanthropy gives tons of educational information and fundraising resources right on the web to assist you in increasing the development for your organization. YouTube has a whole plan for nonprofits where they give a ton of information, education, assistance, tips, tools to nonprofits in order to allow them to use YouTube to really promote what their organization is doing. Amazon Smile is a great thing. So many people shop on Amazon nowadays. Your organization can register with Amazon Smile, and then if you promote to your constituency that you're registered with Amazon Smile, the next time anyone that is familiar with your organization goes to Amazon to make a purchase of just about anything they would normally be purchasing on Amazon, they can choose to select your organization as their Amazon Smile supported organization, and a percentage of everything that they then buy through Amazon.com will be forwarded as a contribution to your organization. So it's great passive fundraising. Once you sign up, there's really nothing else that you have to do other than wait for the checks to come in as your shoppers or constituents shop and spend money online. Google for Nonprofits is a great program that offers tons of tools and resources for nonprofit organizations, from free AdWord advertising to Google Wallet payment processing, tons of educational information. So it's always really important to make sure that you get signed up for Google for Nonprofits. And then Giving Tuesday, the little heart-shaped logo that you see there, that's kind of the follow-up to Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Giving Tuesday is the first Tuesday in December, and it's a national and international recognized day to give back to organizations. And through Giving Tuesday, you can sign up on their website. They give you tons of tools and resources to promote your organization throughout the holiday season to really engage givers, because the largest percentage of all charitable giving in the United States happens during the last month of the year. So kicking off that last month of the year with a big Giving Tuesday campaign, all free of charge, is a great way to do a year-end blast off for your organization. So we talked about Amazon Smile, Giving Tuesday, the YouTube nonprofit program, Google for Nonprofits. You can also check out some of these other sites, the BBB Giving Alliance, Charity Navigator, GuideStar. Those are sites that rank and provide public information and ratings on nonprofit organizations. And you can sign up to participate in these sites. Obviously, most of you, if you have a 501c3, if you're filing 990s with the IRS, you'll be able to go to GuideStar, for example, and see a profile for your organization. But other than having, your ruling year, your EIN number, and maybe copies of your 990s there, there's not going to be a lot of info available to the public. But you have the opportunity as an organization to create a free account, to go in and to modify your profile, to include additional information on what you're doing in financial statements and impact statements, and really make tons of information available to the public about your organization. And these are the types of sites that individuals go to when they are educated donors who are looking to make informed decisions in regards to their giving. And you want them to have as much information and as great of quality information as possible on your organization. So you want to make sure that you participate in those sites and have yourself registered and actively updating information and providing, transparent information for the public. All right, so I've thrown a ton of information at you this afternoon in a short amount of time. So just in case you're feeling a little overwhelmed and could use some assistance, here at CharityNet we do a lot of nonprofit startups. We do 501c3 and other sections of 501c, tax exemption preparation, grant writing, corporate sponsorship, fundraising, strategic planning, web development, graphic design, marketing, bookkeeping. We do search engine optimization, and in general consulting. Our goal is really to be kind of your one-stop shop for administrative support services, so that your individual volunteers and staff can focus on the heart of your mission and actually delivering the programs that your organization was created to do. So if you give me just a moment, I'll see if I have any questions to answer at this time. If not, then like I said, I wanted to share my contact information with you. We are currently in the process of developing our next several months worth of webinar topics, and we do not have scheduled dates yet, but as soon as we do, everybody will start getting promotion emails in regards to those from Jared McCovery. But if you have any suggestions in regards to webinar topics that you would be interested in, or any questions about past webinars or upcoming webinars, Jared is the go-to guy for that, and you can always reach him at jmccovery@bizcentralusa.com. And like I said, if I don't have questions to answer live today, or you think of anything later on, need me to answer a specific question for you, or provide you with any more information on the services that we offer and products and pricing, things like that, feel free to reach out to me via email anytime at melanie@bizcentralusa.com. All right, so give me just a moment. I'll see if I have any questions that I can answer for you live today. Looks like I must have really done my job this afternoon because I don't have any questions to answer live for you today. But like I said, if anybody is with me live this afternoon or that gets a copy of the video presentation later and you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to Jared or I anytime via email, and we'll be happy to get back with you and help you out with whatever we can. So thank you again to everyone for taking time out of your Wednesday afternoon to talk with me about online marketing and fundraising. And like I said, if you have any other specific topics related to your nonprofit that you think would be great webinar subjects, feel free to shoot Jared an email and let him know. And as soon as we get a new calendar of events put together, we'll make sure the info gets out there for everyone. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.